Colorado. Shout out to the matchmakers of Colorado Combat Club.
And here we are set for the main event of the evening, a bantamweight pro matchup between Rakan, Adwan, and Zach Riley.
Yes, and you know, Ben, the thing is with both of these guys' records right here, if you look at it on paper, you might think, well, here's a guy that's sitting 5-6 and a guy that's 6-5. But it is very important to note what some of those losses were within these guys' careers. You know, Rakan, wait for it, Adwan, his losses, you know, of his 6 losses, 3 of them are to top-ranked flyweights in the country. You know, and this is also something that's important to note. He is bumping up in weight class because he has fought the majority of his contests at flyweight. His last fight for Fury FC was against George the Buzzsaw Martinez. He then, before that, Nate the Savage King Smith from Team Elevation, he lost to him in that fight, which Nate is another top-ranked flyweight. And then, as we mentioned earlier before, Brandon Royval is the LFA flyweight champion right now, and that's another one that's on his side of things. Now, if we look at the opposition, Zach Riley, Zach the Anointed Riley has 5 losses on his record, but it's also important to note who some of those are from him. You have losses to a guy like Josh Hellboy Huber. You have a loss to Jerome Rivera, who is another top-ranked flyweight. And then you also have Sid Bice. So these guys have some of the most quality losses that you could have. You know, if you want to find the silver lining in the dark cloud of a loss, it is that right then and there, to have guys who have just that level of seasoning, experience, caliber of their own individual performance. That's only got to make them better.
Man, very well said. I couldn't agree more. Both of these guys are much better than their record presents itself or says. So on paper, these guys are 6-5 and 5-6, but like you said, their quality of losses is huge. So I'm really excited about this matchup and this fight.
But nonetheless, you want to know what a real cool thing is about this main event here being put on at the Pueblo Convention Center in front of a capacity crowd here. You're seeing a combined 22 fights of experience here in this main event. That is awesome, in my opinion, for the fans to be able to get to see guys who have had that level of training underneath their belt.
Exactly. They've gone through their entire amateur career, and now they're well into their pro career.
Exactly, and let me double onto that. 22 professional fights of experience. That's not even taking into account any of the amateur level contests that they've been a part of.
Exactly, yeah, well said. Great point.
Zach Riley is very active also on the jiu-jitsu tournament scene. You know, so these guys, they have a lot of seasoning, a lot of competition there.
Well, don't sleep on Rakan Adwan's grappling abilities too. He's a junior college wrestler out of Labette, and we share that in common. I wrestled at Labette Community College as well in Parsons, Kansas. So I know if he's done 2 hard years at Labette Community College wrestling there, that he's got something to him that not everybody has. So I'm kind of leaning towards that as a heavy factor in this fight as well, his strong wrestling background.
No, that's a very good observation there. I mean, I feel like, Ben, anybody who has some of that collegiate level wrestling background, it's a very, very big advantage in this MMA game. Regardless of if you end up going on to use that wrestling as a part of your game plan, you see your guys like your Justin Gaethjes of the world or Yoel Romero's who don't necessarily use their wrestling for the offense, but they keep that in their back pocket when it comes time for defense.
Exactly.
You know, they're not letting guys shoot in on them, so they're letting the fight really be controlled and dictated where they want it to be. And if they have to revert to that wrestling, and if they have to, go for it, then they go for it.
And like I said, I may be a little partial to where he wrestled at, though. So,
all right. Hey, that is totally understandable, my friend. we are all set to get underway for the main event of the evening. This is a professional fight, so we are going 5-minute rounds, ladies and gentlemen. Body kick right away from Zach Riley, followed by a high kick. Riley splits the guard with an uppercut and with an overhand. Adwan is in trouble, but he's trying to swing his way out of it. Adwan with the plum, throwing knees to the body, and he gets taken down there by Riley. Riley is sitting there in a half guard. Ben, what are you seeing?
Zach Riley looks like the bigger fighter. He's brought it right away. Rakan looking like he was trying to get some wrestling going, but Zach Riley pressuring hard. Oh, but Rakan back up to his feet. Just what I wanted to see. Good action by Rakan. Finally returning, getting his own combos off now. Caught him out at off balance moment there, it looked like.
Riley looks very calm.
He does, very poised.
I asked Riley for a comment earlier this evening when he was getting checked in with medicals, if he had any words or any thoughts. He said, well, I hadn't thought about having to talk about anything, so we didn't really get any little bit of extra insight in our conversation, but he was in great spirits, and he's out there looking like a warrior right now, throwing his strikes at will.
Nice inside leg kick there. Nice outside leg kick. And brought it up to the head.
But that is a strong counter cross right there by Adwan, who then rushed him up against the cage and is pressing up against him on the fence. Riley does have one underhook.
Riley nodding to his corner, listening to instruction.
Good elbow, though, by Rakan Adwan on the break.
And a nice little body kick, too. Rakan looks like he's settling in now.
I was just about to say that. He looks comfortable.
Good combination there. Jabbed his way into a good
inside
cross.
leg kick there, outside leg kick. He almost got a little bit careless there and lost his balance. Blocked high kick from Adwan coming from Riley.
Still kicked him out of his stance, though. That's a strong kick.
Riley's had success with that uppercut.
He has. He caught him with it early.
He threw it again and just barely swung and missed just now. We'll look to see if, as they start to get into these tight corners and these dirty boxing situations, if he can bring that back. Adwan is looking like he's going for the single leg. Lets it go. They're clinched back up.
Looked like a low
full
knee,
plum
but
there.
all right.
From Riley. Riley's going to look to continue to push the head down there and continue to better his position. Hands in the face to Riley from Adwan. Adwan with great positioning with his hips and lower half, pressing Riley up against the fence.
Doing a good job of keeping his back up against the cage. Riley wants to dig an underhook. Cross face to get position back.
Ben, that is now the third time that we've seen those shoulder shucks. Conor McGregor is, I guess, a trendsetter.
He is, man. Nice spinning back elbow.
Adwan with his own uppercut right there in the clinch.
Riley able to reverse positions. Now has Rakan with his back against the cage.
Both guys are kneeing each other to the body very effectively. Riley has the underhooks right now. Adwan needs to look to continue to better his position there. Getting that arm in, almost reversed it there. And he gets it out and has an elbow out of the break.
Creates some space. Nice elbow in the space. Spinning back kick by Zach Riley just goes over the top of Adwan there.
We're seeing a lot of great technique from these guys coming in. They're throwing a lot of stuff that you just didn't see the, I guess, the tactical precision or wherewithal from some of the earlier fighters, but also well noted that, you know, these guys are very well seasoned pros.
Agreed.
And that was a kick right there to the baby maker.
All their shots are a lot straighter, a lot cleaner. Their feet are in good position when they're throwing. You're not finding or seeing them out of position nearly as much. You can definitely see the experience of these two fighters compared to the earlier fighters we've seen tonight.
And that kick right there was totally accidental. You know, it was in the transition of a bunch of punches and kicks being thrown. You just hate to see it, but you also know that that one was with no ill intent.
Agreed. Contacting Zach again early there.
Adwan right there kind of had the Dillashaw combo.
Riley throwing him up against the cage. Got Rakan's back up against the cage again.
Zach Riley looks strong in tight spaces. But look for elbows coming out of the break here. We've seen it every single time coming from Adwan.
I like his positioning there on the arm.
Reversal up against the cage, and we did see some damage coming off the break there as he went to transition for the takedown. What a scramble. What a scramble. That Kimura lock right there, that was a slick defensive move in that scramble from Riley.
Agreed. Rakan reverses position almost to start working on that front head series, but that bell ends the first round.
Hey, what a first round of the main event.
Hey man, it's a little bit of a different game when it's 5 minutes, right?
Absolutely. Interesting decision over here from from Genesis Fight Team. They have Rakan Adwan facing out to the crowd as opposed to facing inward on the cage. I don't know that I've ever seen that in a fight, Ben.
I've never seen that. That is very interesting.
Not to say that I've watched the most fights in the world, Ben, but I've watched a lot.
I've seen a lot of fights too. I feel like I've never seen that. That's so interesting. That's like going into the elevator and not turning around, just staying facing that same direction.
As we get set for the second round to take place.
I guess the mentality there, or the idea there, is you're focused on what you're doing, not on what he's doing, right?
That is true.
Oh, and a nice opening kick by Zach Riley. They're trading early in the second round.
Riley finds success with the left hand. Riley
nice
gets the takedown. Side control, but you're starting to see the leg game come into play for Rakan Adwan. He's looking to sweep over.
Yeah. Looks like he's scissoring the head there. Maybe in a bit of, it's hard to tell, but he may have that. No, he doesn't have the arm. It's just a scissor on the head, or a figure four on the head, it looks like. Shoulder's kind of trapped in there.
And while he might not find the finish, you can guarantee that this is not a comfortable position for Riley to be in.
Exactly. And it's a
nasty crank
position, yeah.
Now, if he continues to kind of roll on that side, if Adwan were to get to that left hip, that's a nasty crank. That is a nasty crank right now with the legs. Oh. And he lets go.
I almost wish he would have held on to it.
But Riley transitions over to the back, now over to Mount. And he's looking to set up a head and arm triangle. If Riley can clear his leg from the half guard of Adwan, we might see an arm triangle coming over to here. And he transitions to Mount, doesn't go for the triangle. Interesting, because it looked like he had the grip set up. He elected to go with the ground and pound and the punishment. Adwan is trying to fight his way out from Mount. He's wearing damage on the bottom. He's continuing to defend himself, but he is wearing shots in the process. He's shrimping, he's getting to a hip, he's halfway working himself up, but Riley is relentless with the strikes from the top.
Rakan needs to work up real quick, or this is going to end soon if he doesn't.
Almost an elbow to the back of the head there.
Big
solid elbow right there
to
to
the
forehead.
temple.
Wow. Riley is looking to finish. Referee Bobby Wambacher is on top of the action. He is asking for Adwan to show him something.
Adwan needs to move. He's giving up his back.
And it looks like Riley is going to seek the choke. He's underneath the chin. This could be seconds away from being finished. Interesting. He does have his legs. He has his legs crossed. He doesn't have hooks, and it's not a body triangle. Very interesting.
It's deep.
And there's the tap. Zach Riley, the Pariah MMA product, picks up the second round rear naked choke finish over Rakan. Wait for it, Adwan. The Anointed Warrior moves himself to 7-5.
That's a great victory for Zach Riley over a very tough Rakan Adwan. And just how we were talking about Markel Medeiros facing some adversity before getting the strap tonight. You know, Rakan's faced some adversity in his last few fights, but I expect him to bounce back strong nonetheless.
Yeah, you know, both of these guys, they poured their hearts out tonight. There was not a single guy or girl who had a poor effort on this card tonight. hats off to every single one of these fighters, their camps, and everybody who supported them and getting them all the way into the cage this evening, because they came out and they did the thing.
I 100% agree with you. From top to bottom, from the first night, from the first fight of the night to the last night, to the last fight of the night, it's been an amazing night of fights. I'm so glad I was here to call it with you, man. This has been brilliant.
Absolutely. You know, Ben, I'm grateful for the opportunity to sit here and chat, watching some amazing fights with you all this evening here in the Pueblo Convention Center.
And for the last final decision of the night, or call of the night, and there it is, the call for your winner, Mr. Zach Riley out of Pariah MMA, moving to 7-5.
Hey, there was a strong showing tonight from the Pariah folks. You know, their crowd came and showed out. We saw from their camp. We saw, I think, did they go? Yep, they did. They went undefeated on the night. You know, they went a perfect 3-0 from Gabriella Hartley to Ronnie Salazar with a very strong showing with the second round TKO by ground and pound, and then to Zach Riley.
Big night for Pariah, Team Pariah. Good for them. They're going to have a fun drive home. It's a short one, but still good to drive home with a few wins under the belt.
Absolutely. Zach Riley, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the 5th installment of the Bout Club. Again, I would like to thank you for joining us. Again, we have Bout Players operated, and Zach, we just appreciate you guys for coming. We see Marshall, Lawrence, Stampede, Homestead, thank you. See you next time.
And that's a wrap.
Signing off from Colorado Combat Club number 5 from the